Welcome to the Aerobic Edge podcast. I'm Joost, your coach over at Base Buddies, and today we're talking about running form and why your glutes aren't the engine that moves you forward. So let's dive in. I saw something interesting today during my run. I saw another runner working really hard, but struggling. His feet were close to the ground. He was shuffling. He wasn't using his glutes. While in the meantime, if he did, his effort would be half as much as what he was doing now, and his pace was probably, or would probably, be better. So why aren't we using our glutes, and why are most runners hip flexor dominant? That's the question we're going into today. Today we're going deep into something I call form before speed, and it's essential for all runners. We're going to understand why it's so important to be glute dominant instead of hip flexor dominant, how it alters our stride, how it makes our efforts during our run easier and will even increase our pace. Let's start with the question. What's the primary muscle that's driving you forward during your run? What would you say? Most runners say calves or quads, and a few say hamstrings, but almost no one says glutes. And that's a real problem, because here's the reality. Your glutes are the engine. They're the biggest, most powerful muscle group in your lower body. When they're firing correctly, every step becomes more efficient, more powerful, and critically, safer on your joints. So when they're not firing, when your hip flexors are doing the work, you get what you call a shuffle. Short stride, feet low to the ground. A forward lean and a running economy that's basically losing energy with every step. So that's a problem. The technical term for this is hip flexor dominance, and it's almost universal in every recreational runner. Not because runners are lazy or doing something wrong, but just because we spend most of our time sitting down. Most of us sit 6, 8, 10 or even more hours a day sitting on the couch or behind your desk. And when you sit, your hip flexors are in a shortened, contracted position for hours at a time. Your glutes, meanwhile, are completely switched off, just hanging there, doing absolutely nothing. And over time, the brain starts to forget how to recruit the glutes properly. There's actually a term for this in sports science. It's gluteal amnesia. The neural pathway between your brain and your glutes gets weak from this use. And when you go out for a run, your brain just defaults back to what it knows. It's going to fire your hip flexors. Your hip flexors pull your leg forwards, your calf push off, and you repeat that thousands of times. The glutes are barely involved. What does that look like on the road? Exactly the guy I saw this week, shuffling, heel dragging, working twice as hard for half the pace. Now here's where it gets interesting and where most runners and most training plans get it completely wrong. The traditional approach to getting faster in running is simple. You just have to run more, run faster, at intervals, at tempo runs, at mileage. And the assumption is that if we do that, the speed will come. But if your movement pattern is wrong, is broken, if your glutes aren't firing, you're already running in a broken pattern. You're not fixing it, you're reinforcing it. You're just shuffling faster. So this is a neuromuscular concept, and it's one of the most important things I want you to take from today. Your body adapts to the specific stress you give it. That's the core principle behind all endurance training: stress, recovery, and adaptation. But it works on a motor pattern level too. Every time you run, you're not just building fitness, you're rehearsing a movement. You're burning a neural groove deeper into your nervous system. And if that movement is shuffle based and hip flexor dominant, you are quite literally just getting better at shuffling. Your body becomes more efficient at the wrong thing. This is why I always say form before speed, because until the movement pattern is right, adding speed just makes the problem worse. Now here's the injury connection, and this is the part that usually gets people's attention. Small muscle, motor marathon, much up, fasciitis. Calves aren't do or strains, and muscle do all the running in your chain. Can't grow. When your glutes aren't doing their job, something else has to compensate. And in running, that something else is usually your calves or your Achilles tendon. But your calves are a relatively small muscle, and it wasn't designed to take all the beating of a marathon or a 10K or whatever it is you're training for. And if we ask a muscle or a tendon to do too much, it breaks. And that's what most injuries are coming from. It's mostly something that goes wrong downstream because the chain isn't healthy, it isn't working as it's supposed to be. And that's one of the consequences of not being glute dominant. And I see this pattern constantly as a running coach. Someone comes to me with a recurring calf injury or a calf strain. We start to work on glute activations, and within a few weeks the calf's problem starts to go away. Not because we're treating the calf, but because we're treating the form and the way someone runs. We're changing someone from hip flexor dominant to a glute dominant runner. The injury wasn't really the problem, it was the neuromuscular connection that was the problem. So how do you fix it? That's what you want to know. How do we actually retrain our brain and our muscles to become a better and healthier runner? Well, this is where heel blasts are coming in. And I want to explain not just what heel blasts are, but also how you do them and why they work. Because if you understand the mechanism, you also will do them right. A heel blast is an 8-second sprint up a hill. 8 seconds. That's it. Nothing more, nothing fancy. And after that 8-second hill sprint, you have a recovery of 2.5 minutes of walking. Not jogging, walking. It sounds almost too simple. And when I first describe it to most athletes, they say, is that it? Yes, that's it. So how does this work? The hill. When you run uphill, especially with the right technique, you just cannot shuffle. You are forced to use your glutes. To move forward and up, your body has to push the ground downwards and behind you, which means your glutes have to fire to run up that hill. There's just no way around it. The hill creates the perfect running form to fire your glutes. And that movement pattern will automatically be assigned to your running by your brain. But it takes some time. But here's the key. It only works when we use the hills properly. The mantra that I use is tall, relaxed, piston and pop, pop, pop. Tall means we want to run the hill perpendicular. Normally when we do a hill we want to lean into the hill. But then we create a shuffling pattern again. What we want to do is we want to be upright onto the hill. That makes your glutes fire. If you do it right, it almost feels like you're cycling up the hill. So that's tall. Then relaxed. Relaxed means, well, relaxed. Your shoulders and your hips, everything needs to be relaxed and loose. Tension always travels somewhere down the chain, and you don't want that. Fists, the hill. Relaxed means that your shoulders are relaxed. You make a fist, but not clenched, loosely, with your thumbs on top. If you're relaxed, you're going to run the hill and let your hip rotate with the running. If we are clenched and we are tense, that will break the entire chain and it will break our form. Piston means that everything that we move moves forward in a straight line. Your hands will go from your hip, you push everything back from your hands to your hip and your elbow almost shoulder height and back with your elbow to your hips. So fist, to hip, and then elbow back to hip, a straight line. And of course also everything you do with your torso, with your legs, everything in a straight line forward. Oh, that's piston. But now pop. Well, pop is moving quickly. This is the glute cue, you could say. Your feet should come very quickly off the ground. Heels driving up under your hips. So not a shuffle, not a push, but a pop. You want to be as fast as possible. Like you're running on hot coals or lava, and you want to spend as little time as possible on the ground. When you do this correctly on the hill, your glutes have no choice but to fire. And here's the beautiful part. After enough repetitions, that pattern starts to be ingrained in your brain, and it starts to transfer in your normal, easy running tempo sessions, whatever. The neural groove gets deeper. The brain starts to teach itself to use the glutes instead of your hip flexors, even if you don't run a hill. Now another critical part to this equation, the energy system. This is important for understanding why the recovery is so long and non-negotiable. PC. 8 seconds of maximal effort uses an energy system that's called ATP-PC, of phosphor-creatine. This is your body's immediate energy system, the one that's used to sprint out. But here's the thing, you only have enough for about 10 seconds, and then it's gone. But you can get it back. But it takes about 2 to 3 minutes to replenish those energy stores. That's why we have a 2.5 minute walking recovery. Not jogging, but walking. Because we need to replenish this energy system before we do the next rep. So the progression is simple. Week 1 you do 4 reps. Week 2 you do 5. Then the other week you add another one until you reach 8 repetitions of hill blasts. And then you maintain 8 sessions or 8 reps for every hill blast session. This isn't a workout you ever really go away from. It's best to just keep it in your schedule, keep it in your running schedule. You will notice that your form will really start to improve if you keep doing these sessions. Then we want to select a hill. What kind of hill? Well, mostly if we see hill sprints, we see someone sprinting up a very steep hill. That's not what we want to do. We want to have a gentle incline, about 5%. That's the ideal incline for these glute activations. So maybe something as an overpass. Here in the Netherlands there are a lot of bicycle pathways, and sometimes there's a viaduct under the road. That's perfect. If it's too flat, you lose the hip extension. If it's too steep, it's more like a power drill. Strides, work together. Strides, better. Pace. And relaxed. Fast, too fast. Now let's talk about the second part of this glute activation program, and that's strides. Because strides and hill blasts work together to awaken your glutes. A stride is a short acceleration. In your first week it's just 20 seconds at roughly 5k pace. So it's not an all-out sprint. It's controlled, it's fast, but it's also relaxed. The key word being relaxed. So yes, you are running hard or harder than you usually do, but it's not all out straining sprint. It's a relaxed, fast effort. And the purpose of these strides is different than hill blasts. Hill blasts are about fixing your movement pattern and recruiting your glutes. Strides are more like translating that pattern to just flat ground, to your normal running routine. They teach your body what efficient speed looks like. They teach your brain how to use your glutes while running. And the basic introduction to strides is 5 times 20 seconds in your first week. You pick 2 landmarks about 20 seconds away. You run for 20 seconds and then you walk or jog back to the starting point and you repeat the same again. So it's a walk back recovery. So it's very easy to do. It's very aerobic. You have a full recovery. You're not trying to build a cardiovascular fitness here. It's not training, it's a stride. It's teaching your body to use your glutes. Strides. Strides. No. Running. Oh man. As you progress, the strides get longer. In week 1, it's like an introduction to strides. It's just 5 times 20 seconds of strides. In week 2, we progress it to 3 times 5 by 20 seconds of strides. Then a week after it becomes 30 seconds, and a week after 40 seconds. And when we're at 40 seconds, we add a 2 minutes continuously running stride at 5K effort. In the first week it's 2 minutes, then it becomes 3, 4 and 5 minutes at 5K pace. An interesting thing here is that you'll notice that if you're at the end of the strides and you do the 5 minutes, your 5 minutes 5K effort will be faster than your first week of 20-second strides. Why? Because the heel blasts and the strides work together to awaken your glutes. It will improve your speed with lower effort. That's the magic of the combination between heel blasts and strides. Your effort goes down, but your speed comes up. This whole system that we discussed now from heel blasts and strides is called the pre-super base. And I use it with all runners that need gluteal activation. Their running speed isn't improving or the running form isn't improving, then we're going to use this pre-super base to develop this new running pattern. So a runner will become faster, but also the injury risk will come down. And that's the pre-super base. In this week, easy run. Let's make this practical for you so you can start implementing these systems in your running. If you're currently running 3 or 4 times a week, you runs. Pick one of your easy runs to do the hill blasts in. Start with 20 minutes of an easy run to warm up. Find a gentle hill, about 5% incline, and do your first hill blast. And remember the mantra we've talked about. After the 8 seconds hill blast, you walk around for 2.5 minutes and you repeat. After 4 reps, you do 20 minutes of easy running to cool down. And remember the mantra, tall, relaxed, piston, pop, pop, pop yourself. You might want to film yourself to see if you're executing these hill blasts correctly. It's always a surprise to see yourself running and you think, is that me running? I had exactly the same. Then on a different easy run, and not the same day than the hill blasts, you do the strides. You do again 20 to 30 minutes of easy running, then perform the strides 5 by 20 seconds or 3 times 5 by 40 seconds depending on which week you're in, and after your strides you do about 20 minutes to cool down in your easy run. So do this for your coming weeks. Do the hill blasts and the strides. If you want the complete schedule of hill blasts and strides, I'll put them in the show notes with a link. And one more thing, after you run, especially after your long run, spend about 5 minutes doing the Myrtle routine. I'll put a link in the show notes as well, and in a coming podcast we're going to talk about a very minimal strength routine, including the Myrtle routine, to also help activate your glutes. And the Myrtle routine is essential in this, but that's for another episode. So let's bring this all together. Work your glutes, our glutes effort. It will career your voice. The shuffle isn't a style choice. It's a result of a broken pattern. We aren't using our glutes to run, we're using our hip flexors. And this will increase our risk of injury. And as we discussed now, we can activate our glutes and increase our speed and reduce our effort. And this is a neuromuscular development. It's not just adding speed, adding more workouts or tempo runs. It's teaching our brain how to fire the glutes that we're not used to using. So hill blasts and strides are the primary tools. The second part is the strength routine. And that's something for the next episode. Up your game in running. If you want to go deeper into the pre-super base, the super base, or break your marathon PR, shoot me a message at podcast@pacebodies.com, because that's exactly what I offer one-on-one with my athletes. Starting just from 60 euros a month, I can help you with a personal running plan. We have weekly updates, monthly online video calls to help you progress and beat your PR. So if you're ready, let's connect. But if you're not there yet, please check out my website pacebodies.com. All the information is found there. In the next episode, we're going to discuss the minimal strength routine to help you run faster, lower your injury risk, and lower your effort. See you then.